Servum17 once again. This is some Bloodborne new gameplay, or old gameplay, depending on how rabid you are at finding information about this title and how much you're pretty much all up in it until it comes out, which is getting ever closer but still quite some ways away. So this is one of the two most recent gameplay videos for Bloodborne. If you want a non-commentated version that isn't slowed down, there'll be a link in the description. But this is the one where I wax poetic, and I tell you what I think. So immediately looking down there, is that another player who has random torch? He has a very similar run cycle to us. It looks like he has a weapon folded up on his back, and there it turns into a hammer, which makes me think it has to be another person. So is the guy already in his world and the co-op is already happening? Is this PvP? Like, a lot of questions, a lot of curiosities. I love the design. That right there is amazing. Like, is he a bad guy? Because he ran past that perfectly, but this guy attacked us. So, and if you look at him, it looks like his coat is white. Like, what is going on? Yeah, he's definitely not hurting us, so it can't have been PvP. It's some kind of co-op, but the enemy didn't see him for some reason, which is kind of strange. Maybe the scripted moments where they jump out at you in the trap sequences only work when it's the host player's world. If a phantom does it, or whatever these things are, that is amazing. I had a lovely chuckle at that. The guy pulls out a little tinny full of fire, nice little homemade flamethrower there, and starts ruining things. I mean, look at that. That is pretty damn powerful. It also tells us that he had a second slot for his gun arm, which is nice to see, because we haven't really seen too much of that. But he moves up here, and there's another player helping him, and it seems like the most popular weapon at this moment in time is that crazy hammer. And then there's a little vignette over here of a super tall guy chopping up a body. He looks a little bit like the guy who helped you on the bridge during the alpha. He's just getting pretty axe happy, chopping up some random corpses, random people. And it's going to explode in a moment into a co-op boss fight, I assume is what it is. And there's two things I like about this. The first one is this guy looks like you. He looks like he's one of the hunters or the Bloodborne people or whoever you play as. However, he seems to have his own motive, or he's gone bad, or for whatever reason he's against our cause. So it cues this epic fight that's coming up. And I like the idea of that. I like the idea of the different factions. I like the idea of people having, you know, different goals throughout the story that aren't necessarily giant monsters. And I think that the Soul series shines the most when you're taking on a boss that's relative to your size, that is as intelligent as you are and as capable as you are. They're my favourite kind of encounters, like your King of Lance, like your Gwyn fights, like your Artorias fights. And this is on that kind of scale. It is a humanoid character, which a lot of people probably might be a little bit sad about, because Dark Souls 2 got hit pretty hard with humanoids and people apparently didn't like it. This guy's got a pretty shit-eating grin. He's got the old cold breath that a lot of vampire movies like to do, and he turns into a werewolf. So maybe he's Brad Pitt, who knows. But it kicks off, and this is when the video kinda gets crazy, because this guy is swinging a pretty large looking axe. It looks like the axe on the class that you could have picked in the alpha. And then it's just a gangbang of people jumping around, shooting guns, swinging swords, which brings me to my first concern. This looks messy. It looks chaotic, crazy, messy. The kind of thing that happens in, for instance, like Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma, if you don't have each other on the opposite sides of the screen. Shit gets just daft. And a lot of these games are meant to be reactionary, they're meant to be very reflex heavy and one-to-one, and it's hard to do that when the boss is aggroed by 3 people, because he's looking at somebody, then he's suddenly attacking you, and it breeds a lot of confusion and a lot of clusterfucking, or clusterfuckery, which can be amazing to watch and a great spectacle, but when it comes to playing it can be a little bit frustrating and annoying. So I'm very curious as to how this works. And the werewolf just there killed one of the people that he was with. And look at him! This guy attacks so aggressively, so frequently, and blood is everywhere, which I'm a big fan of the direction they've gone with this. It's gone full on, just crazy, the suffering amounts of blood here as he charges his attack, then gets a massive hit, then he jumps, does the flame lurker swing, but it didn't hit him when he was on the ground. Did you notice that? That is a good thing. I don't want any of that bullshit. I love how he's breaking the environment too. It's looking great. The frame rate's probably going to be capped at 30. I hope it's capped at 30. I think that's best case scenario. There's no way it's going to be 60, and there's more of a possibility that it's going to be under 30, which will be a little bit sad, but we put up with it with Dark Souls. I'm sure we can put up with it with this. But that was one of the gameplays for Bloodborne. I will be speaking to you later in the other one, which is slightly longer than this, and I probably won't be slowing down. It might be like a reaction commentary, but thank you very much for watching, and you take care now.